This is Dr. Yerushalmi Shevi'is in the article Hozvar. We are on the last word on the first line in the Dalet Amud Aleph. In the Vilna edition, we are on Yud Ches Amud Beis, and we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 lines from the bottom. The fourth word in Amr Rabbi Yoshe Eluchem Yuchel Behema. So yesterday we talked about using things hatain, which some of the gears give the gears latmin. Well, they actually had the gears, but the meaning that latmin to preserve other produce. So we talked about preservation, and it's possible also to talk about hatmana vis-a-vis Shabbos, because there are things which you use here for hatmana for Shabbos, and that makes sense in the context of this Gemara. What about using hay, which is Kedusha Shevi'is, because it's Machal Behema for the purpose of Atmana on Shabbos? So the Gemara says, I would like to read this according to Gilin Ephraim Girsa. There's nothing which is uniquely animal food and not human food except chatzir, hay. If you gather in order to do atmana with it, mutar l'chatin, but you're allowed to do atmana with it. V'tani chatzir v'kol shari raka shlokta l'chatin bohem, and we learned, in fact, a chatzir, the hay, and all other vegetables which you gathered in order to be matmin with them, mutar l'chatin bohem, allowed to use it for their purpose. Chishev l'machal behema, but that's if you gather for their purpose. Once you thought about them to use for machal behema, to designate them as animal fodder, also chatin bohem. Then you have to. Then you're not allowed to use it for the purpose of chitun, that hatmana, the either preservation or hatmana for Shabbos. So that is, and he says that that's good in Tosefta. Betani, and we also learned in the Brayso, chatzir, b'kol shari rakos, chatzir, and any other vegetable. Oh no, that's right. That's what I just read. Change the machal bema. Never mind. Tari bar kapar. So the bar kapar taught in here too. We're going to see the Gilin Ephraim. Tari kapar mutar l'chatem also lilvos mehen. You are allowed to use them for atmana and not allowed to borrow from them. That's which is strange with borrowing. You're not allowed to be loses them. Loses usually means to moisten. Now to squeeze them out. That evidently by squeezing them out, these vegetables, you ruin them, and therefore you're not allowed to squeeze them out. So also lil tos bahem, right? That's the way to read it. Not also bahem levos bahem. Mutar lehatim bahem v'asur bahem levos bahem, but mutar lechatim bahem v'asur lil tos mehen. V'lama sheyesh lehem Kedusha Shevi'is. Why? Because they have Kedusha Shevi'is. The v'ochle behema ein aleim Kedusha Shevi'is. But if they're ochle behema, they don't have Kedusha Shevi'is, and that Omar, in the sense that you could say osi minhem lugma l'adam. You can even though regular peiros Shevi'is might not, which are royal adam, you might not be allowed to make a malugma for them. If it's machal behema, and by squeezing them, you can get out some sort of secretion, which you can use to make a malugma l'adam. That's really upgrading them. That's permitted. So machal adam, you can't make a malugma. Machal behema, you can make a malugma l'adam. Amr Rabbi Yosef says Shem Inan she'os mem malugma l'adam. Right. From this we derive, you can make a malugma l'adam. V'shaminan, and we heard shemutar l'sochtam la'asos mem samonim l'adam. You can squeeze them and make them samonim, herbs. I guess some sort of not herbs, but some sort of medicinal things. Not just malugma, which is a plaster, but I guess also some other type of medicinal purpose, that you can use the machal behema for that purpose. The way the Kafan Naki reads it, he doesn't have also lilsos mehen, he has also lilvos mehen, but we'll leave that alone. But then afterwards he says, why is it also liltos mehen? Or Lama Fishation and Kedusha Shevi'is. So the Gemara says, you can make the Ochle Behema, they don't have Kedusha Shevi'is. And yet you say you can make Lugma Adam? How could it be? So the answer is, yeah. The Rabbi Yossi Shemati Shosim Memelugel Adam Shemuta Sochtam Asas Mem Samhaim Adam. You could this is actually from the Brisa, which we had before. I don't know. I'm not sure which Brisa is referring to here. That's what the Kabbalah is referring to. He says from the Brisa. But in any event, we had before. In other words, Ochle Behemo you can upgrade by making Tseva Lo Adam. That was what Mona was talking about. Here too, you can upgrade Ochle Behemo and make it Melugma or Samonim Lo Adam. It's a little bit of a. I'm not sure what it says in the Brisa. But we're going according to, I guess, the Brisa from the beginning of the Gemara. It says, you got some Lugash Ein El Cholim. You can't do Melugma with Peros Shevi'is. So this is saying, yes, regular Peros Shevi'is, which is for Adam, we can't use to make Melugma, but Peros Shevi'is or Behema, you can make from them Melugma or Samamonim. Okay, Tamatim, we learned over there, Lulave Vladin. You have shoots of Zradin. Later on, he says later on, he's going to explain it later on. I guess it's in the Mishnah later on. Yeah, hawthorn. Not that it's any good. Next Mishnah explains it's hawthorn. Levi Zwarim B'Shel Edel, another type of cress. Anything which you don't know, basically in Zerayim is a cress. Bali Lufa Shoita and the leaves of the Lufa Shoita. Ein B'Tamid B'Soichlin. They're not suitable to eat as is. Achim Tuku until and they're Tumei to Masochlin until they're sweetened. In other words, they are evidently they're soaked, and that's how it gets sweetened. V'lama b'wai shame marin, because when they're in their pristine stage, before their work, they are bitter. Vare tumusin lab morin inun. So the Gemara has, wait a minute, tumusin, which are lupins in English, are very bitter, and they have to be cooked 7 times to become suitable to eat, and yet they're makabel tumas even before you fix them up by boiling them 7 times. So the Gemara says, no, it's true that tumusim require even more tikkun, but they're grown, they're cultivated for machal adam. Luavi zoidim are not cultivated machal adam, and they are luavi zoidim shel adam. They're only, it's not the cress itself, it's the shoots of the cress. Not sure exactly what the difference is, but obviously the cress itself is edible, the shoots of the cress are not. So therefore they're not makabel to masaychin until you actually designate them as such. Lo tzurcha ella. Lo tzurcha da. I'm going to read this later with the word bas. Lo tzurcha da the lo shaminan the ein kedusha shvi'is chal aleim ad shem tiku. So Peres Rishnos El Yarmin the read bas. El Rishon the mibayele questions in the in shvi'is sir gampin lahatin ad shem tiku. They only get kedusha shvi'is these lulav ezor and lulei edel once they are sweetened. Alzamar lokena am Rabbi Yosef Bechina ulshin chashuvos l'chulei b'shvi'is. Ulshin, which I recall if I recall correctly, we said are endives or some other type of moror. Ocean was, we said what ocean were, and I'm forgetting what they were. I remember we had ocean before. So anyway, so ocean. So we're looking at ocean. Kashuv is going to be Shvi'is. Am the Shvi'is Kashuv Yoser. So we have Mama said this Gemara. Why am I blanking out where it was? It was a bit Perek Vav Halacha Dalet. Oshim Shevi'is Chashuv. Rabbi Yochanan. Oshim Shevi'is Chashuv in the time of Tumas Ochlin. Yeah, it was end types. Then the time of Tumas Ochlin during Shemitah, right? Because they're considered to be a food. Am the Shevi'is Chashuv Yoser. The after Chashuv ain't a Chashuv, even though the rest of the years it's not Chashuv. We come Shevi'is Chashuv le'achol, and Shevi'is is significant. You can't Hachanami after ain't a Chashuv time of Tumas Ochlin Shem Tiku. But so even though normally the shoots of the hawthorn and the cress are not the time of Tumas Ochlin until they get sweetened. On Shemitah, you don't have to wait till they get sweet. So it's considered food immediately. Let's see that inside. So the Gemara says, our question is not that. The Shaminon. I'm not sure exactly how the Girsa is here. I think Abnagi is a little bit better. It says, on that, that's not much better. On that, wait a minute, what about ocean? What's the this an ocean? Right? Vidman, it says, time hada amarta actually Rebbe Levi Yarek michutz la'aretz oretz. That's before Rebbe Levi used to bring vegetables from chutz la'aretz also. Therefore, people desperate for vegetables, and they count that types of vegetables. Amishita Rebbe Levi Yarek michutz la'aretz oretz. But once Rebbe allowed people bring vegetables from chutz la'aretz oretz, so he shvi'is the shnei shvua, and also not considered to be machal adam until you designate him as such. V'ka lo yu chashavos, and here too, the lulav ezor and lulei edo should not be considered significant. Ad sheyachashev aleim, right? And until you designate them. So the Gemara says. So the Ribaz goes on. I'm skipping a little bit. Azeb parich and kain lefi zeh the b'shvius tzor gamkin latina chim tiku matzinu davar de b'tchila enkdo shvius chol aleim. How could that be? That initially they don't have Kedusha Shvi'is, and then all of a sudden later on they get Kedusha Shvi'is. That's what Gemara asks, okay? Where it says, Matzino Davar should be Tchila Kedusha Shvi'is, Davar should be Tchila, the other way, so it's the other rain around for the Gemara here. Matzino Davar should be Tchila, Ein Kedusha Shvi'is Chal Ein, Ubesof Kedusha Shvi'is Chal Alein. Not like this that we have in the Gemara here, the B'tchil Kedusha Shvi'is Chal Alein, Besof Ein Kedusha Shvi'is Chal Alein. No, the opposite. Because they were talking about initially there is no Kedusha Shvi'is on them, and then there's no Kedusha Shvi'is only comes upon them when they get sweetened. So the Gemara asks, such a thing? Hey Tivun, they asked. What do you mean? I'm no precedent for this thing, right? The say on the Azov and the Kurnas that they all are initially are not matami, initially not don't have Kedusha Shvi'is, and they then at the end they do get Kedusha Shvi'is, right? Um, so Armai Bechina said, "Shekain im likta mitchil eichlin Kedusha Shvi'is chol alei miyad." The Hasa, so the Ribaz explains, you could have considered them food immediately. You couldn't have, before the sweet, you can't even designate it for Kedusha Shvi'is. Because they're totally inedible. These things which you initially thought about them as wood, they were edible, but not fully, they were not considered to be significant. Then you thought about them to make them to eat them. So then the food quality jumps to the front, and they get Kedusha Shvi'is. But here, at first, there's no Kedusha Shvi'is whatsoever. Okay, ain't for lamad but ina shimtik. So there's no spot to say that. Well, you have to wait until they're sweet, and then you're going to get Kedusha Shvi'is. Davar. Never found such a thing. That initially has no Kedusha Shvi'is, and then it gets Kedusha Shvi'is. So that's so again, when it says Amar Rabbi Chanina, let's see inside. That was the Ribaz. Let's see inside. Amar Chanina shkein lika mitchila ochlin Kedusha Shvi'is chol alei miyad. Those things, the Seah and the Azov and the Kurnis, they're different because they are edible even to begin with. They don't need mituk. So anything which requires mesika, which requires sweetening, evidently that is not going to since before it's sweetened, it doesn't have Kedusha Shvi'is. Even if it does get sweetened, it still doesn't have Kedusha Shvi'is. That seems to be the maskon of our sugya. The Gemara says, Aseya is Tzatre, Azov is Azova, and Kurnis is Kurnisa. And the Kabbanaki says, this explained at the beginning of the 8th parak. So we'll take a look there. Seya is savory, Azov is hyssop, and Kurnis is thyme. So all these things are somewhat edible. Perhaps the wood is used initially, but I mean, we make spices out of them. So it is edible to begin with, but just normally, I guess, it's used for the purpose of wood. The Gemara, the Cornis is Cornisa. And then this word is over Cornis. I don't know. I'm glad the Girsa in the Kabbanaki is slightly different than the Gemara. Seya Sitere, Azov is Azova, Cornis is Cornisa. It doesn't have this word Amhu. Oh, that's, you know why? Because in the Vilna where I'm looking at, the Aleph of Cornisa is put in front of was moved. And it says Cornis Amhu. But so it's Cornisa, period. Ma'al Chabetzani. I'm sure the article has it correct. Yeah, the article has it correct. Yeah. He even has a header, Chabetzani. Okay, Ma'al Chabetzani. So Gemara asks, what are Chabetzani? Beitzei Neitz Cholav. They are the eggs of the Neitz Cholav. Let's see, the Kabbanaki explains it here. And this is going on the Mishnah, of course, which mentioned Chabetzonim, and it's called Sachlav, or Tzachlav in Arabic, which is Chalbatz with the letters mixed around, and it's also a mixture of Cholav and Beitzin. So it's like it's a plant which I guess has qualities of milk, and it looks like, and it's there's evidently part of it, which is I guess a fruit of it, which is looks like it is an egg. Okay, Beitzei Neitz Cholav. Okay, now the Gemara goes on and says, the Meim is Barin, that's a quote from the Mishnah, right? Meir says, Meim is Barin Ad Rosh Hashanah. All these things which are mentioned in the Mishnah. The Tanakama said they don't have biur, not the Meir. Meir says they have biur until Rosh Hashanah. Tanya, I'm by Meir. Meir said, "Machmiani b'domi yotzei michanata." The fruit itself is never called a behema minasada, but I'm more machmir with the money with which it was bought, of which was sold, than same thing. Than the ikar, than the thing itself. Shashem Shevi'is madlikin bo. Because the oil of Shemitah you can use to light, like we learned Tiyah, even five lokas on there. Mecharo, but if you sold the shemen, Shemitah, v'lokach bo shemen emalikin bo, and he bought oil, you can't use that oil to light, and that's exactly Rabbanim. In order that you should know that this shemen has kedusha shvius, they said you can't use it to light your candle. So the initial oil, which you know is kedusha shvius, they were not machmir in it. They said you can use that to light your candle, but the oil you bought with money, with money acquired from selling a shemitah fruit, the shemitah oil, that you can't use to light, because when I come to real, I think it doesn't make kedusha shvius whatsoever. So we're more machmir with lakuach than with the initial thing. So here too, whatever is the money which you get from selling these things, that is going to have require biur according to Meir. Rabbi Yochanan said, "Hichlif shemen b'shemen." What if you did an exchange, not a sale, exchange? You exchange oil for oil, shnei masurim. They both can't be used because they both have the din of the Shevi'is because you barter them. Ketzaro, so what can you do so the oil should remain permitted to light? Because the Shem said, "Machlif shneim chulin." You switch both of them for chulin. In other words, each one switches his oil for Paris chulin of his friend, and the chulin now becomes the Shevi'is, and the oil remains Paris Shevi'is, and they which may be loose for loka, not the Shevi'is, because the Shevi'is was the Paris chulin. These two still retain halacha of Shevi'is, and they don't come about the Shevi'is. They retain halacha Shevi'is, which is that you're allowed to use them in order to light your candle. Okay, that will bring us to the end of our discussion of the Daf Dal. We're 3 lines into Daf Hey.